Greetings and welcome to Kentucky Go Digital Live. I'm so excited that you guys are here with us today on the 24th episode. Can you even believe it? Of Kentucky Go Digital Live. My name is Brooke Whitlow. I'm the Instructional Technology Coordinator here in Hardin County Schools, and I'm joined today by our Kentucky Go Digital Live team. We have Heather Worrell joining us. She is the Digital Learning Coach with the Office of Education Technology at KDE. Hi, Heather. Heather is going to be running our YouTube live channel, and if you are joining with us live, be sure to pop in over there with our live conversation going on. And if you have any questions or anything like that, Heather will make sure that you are taken care of. We are also joined by Courtney DeRossett. She is the Chief Information Officer in Floyd County Schools. Hi, Courtney. Courtney is going to be also contributing over on our YouTube live channel in that conversation, and also on Twitter. So if you are following along, be sure to join the conversation on YouTube or Twitter, hashtag KYGoDigital. We are also joined by Elaine Abernathy. As always, she is our wonderful technical lead today when she'll be running our camera and making sure we're all squared away. So welcome, everyone. I'm so excited about today's episode. We are talking about one of my favorite topics, which is using digital tools to build and unite our school community. And last night, I participated in the JCPS chat on Twitter. If you've never participated in the JCPS chat, I highly recommend it. And so I got to learn and listen to our guest today as he contributed on that hashtag. And I was so inspired even last night. And after taking a peek at all of his slide decks, y'all are in for a show. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest today, Principal Rob Fulk. He is the principal at the Marion C. Moore School in Jefferson County Public Schools. And I'm going to let Rob take it away and introduce his amazing team that he has with us today. Rob?
First off, I want to thank everyone out there that's watching or will watch this once it's reposted. We are really excited for the opportunity to talk about our school and the stuff that we're doing here. I'm joined today by three of my outstanding teachers. The first set of them is Kyle Squared. That would be Kyle Chandler, my STC, and Kyle McKune, who teaches PE for us and does most of our online content and digital stuff. He's been a leader with that long before I got here to Moore, and we've just been building on his work. And then the fourth person of our duo is Maegan Woodlee, who is our department chair of English on the high school side. If you don't know, we're a 612 building. We're the largest building in Jefferson County with over 2,100 kids. Maegan has the responsibility of leading our ELA department on the high school side. She is also one of our leaders in theater and drama on campus. And they're going to join us today and talk about some of the things that they do from the teacher perspective. So we're really, really happy to get started.
Hey, Rob, hang on. You can't get started yet. You forgot somebody on your team. Behind you.
That right there is my boo. That's Marion C. Moore, who we're named after. She is one of the three first counselors in Jefferson County, Kentucky. She was a career educator here for over 47 years. She served in classified roles, served in a teaching role, counseling role. She was pretty much a pillar of the Highview community, and we're very proud of her. And we like to tote her oil painting around from time to time so we can show her off.
I have to tell you, before you get started with your content, we have it's popping over in the live YouTube chat right now. And your episode, Rob Fulk and your amazing team, has gone international. We have Todd Norton, who is one of my own tech heroes. He is watching live from Singapore right now. So, I mean, this is like a Kentucky Go Digital live moment in history right now. So, hello, Todd, and welcome to everyone. We've got Allison Gregory. We have William Jones. William Jones, I would wish you would please change your name to what you go by on the YouTubes, okay? Because I always call you the wrong name. We've got Chase Goff over there. We have the team at Farnsley. So it is hopping over there in YouTube. So everybody's really excited to hear what you got, sir. Take it away.
All right, first off, I'm going to say thank you to Chase, my brother principal out there. I appreciate it, man. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to really kind of split this into two areas. One, we're going to discuss the brand and what that means from a school perspective, both from the principal angle and the educator angle, and how that transfers to kids in your community. Then we're going to talk about social media and how here at Moore we utilize Blogger, YouTube, Flipgrid, podcast, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the tools out there to build culture, communicate, and interest with our students. So at any point, if you've got questions, please let us know and just interject, and I'll do my best to answer. Otherwise, I'm going to go pretty quick because this is some content I'm pretty passionate about. First off, let's start with what Moore is. We say we are the Marion C. Moore because we are unique. We are a 612. We are the largest A1 school in Jefferson County, Kentucky. We have 44 countries of origin on campus, 38% Caucasian white, 40% Black African American, 22% Hispanic Latino, 16% ESL, 15% exceptional children, 85% free and reduced lunch. My mobility rate is just shy of 20%. My retention rate from 8th grade to 9th grade kids that stick with us last year was over 93%, which we were super excited about. Since 7/1/16, we have hired 126 staff. We've never been fully staffed because we have over 230 employees here. There's always some movement. We have 7 APs, 6 counselors, 160 certified staff. We are classified as a priority comprehensive middle school, teetering a little bit on that on the high school. Today is a really big day for us in the accountability model because it is the ACT day and our kids are ready. And we are an academy school on the high school side, splitting our building into the Freshman Academy, Community Academy, STEAM Academy, and Health Sciences Academy. That graphic you see there on the side, we'll talk about a little bit more here in the future. Kyle down there has the actual original. That is student-generated artwork as part of their Deeper Learning project to kind of show off some of the diversity and the different countries that we have on campus. Now, where we begin is, how do we get from here to where we want to be? So you'll see those screen clips there. You've got kids running wild, over 800 truants. You've got police investigating a student jumping on a cop car across the street. You go on, you've got kids out there that are in the media claiming to be bullied. We've got a young lady in Highview Park that took a ball bat to somebody else. All of this negative stories that we encountered last year that we kind of, we were in a tough spot and our community perception wasn't strong. Our culture wasn't strong. So one of the tasks that I had as a new principal here was, before anything else happened, we have to get our culture right. We had a lot of negative perceptions out there. When I took the job, I went and I talked to the community and I talked to staff and I said, tell me about our building. And some of the things we heard things like, it's a turnaround school, get it right and then punch your ticket out. We heard things like, I hated Moore. All the good kids go to other schools anyway. And then underpinning all of that, we heard things like, I want my school to succeed. I want to be proud of my alma mater. I want this place to be the school that it can be. So we knew underneath there that there was a ton of people, our community, our teachers and students, that they desired excellence. So it becomes our job to be able to deliver an environment where that happens. So how do we get to here? These are pictures from the last 2 years. Our students on campus being awesome, doing the right thing. You see Jessie right there up at the top. She's holding her college acceptance letter. We've got the Lettuce Club over there. Go on our Twitter and find out what that is. We've got kids at pep rallies excited. We've got kids holding multiple acceptance letters to big name universities, kids doing science, teachers getting awards. We've got that young man that says The Bit as a nationally publicized magazine that he was a part of. We've got our 6th graders painting bricks. We've got archers winning regional tournaments. We've got dinosaurs at pep rallies and fatheads made out of teachers and principals by kids and retweets by Barute Kafele himself. All this stuff was not by accident. This was stuff that my staff bought into and did, and my students bought into and did. And our hope today is we can show you how we got there. You see our mortar boards. That's something that's unique here on this campus at Moore. We let our kids decorate their mortar boards as part of graduation because that is a day of celebration and it should be a day of celebration. So we start with core beliefs. Before anything else, my core belief as a principal is that culture comes first, and the brand, we must build a place where people want to work, people want to send their kids, students want to attend, and our community is proud of. And we've got to do this by being honest, transparent, communicative, and not spending time on the distractions that distract us from that work. To do that, we must support, retain, and recruit the best people, and then get out of their way and let them take risks and do their job. I firmly believe that focusing on test scores is malpractice, and we've done that for 10 or 15 years now in this profession, and it's got to stop. And we must celebrate students and show them their successes often, because iron sharpens iron, and every single kid needs to know that they matter and that their future matters not only to them, but the slew of adults that are surrounding them. We throw up this graphic here. We talk about culture here like it's a fragile little egg, because it is. You've got to love tenderly that fragile little egg. You've got to nurture that fragile little egg before anything else. I'm not saying that red X and all the things under it are not important. They are. All of those things are important. The ILTs are important. K-Prep's important. Behavior plans are important. All of those things are super important, but none of them is more important than the culture that is on your campus, and it must be nurtured proudly by any means necessary every single day. The second it begins to slip, then your building begins to slip, and all those other things that you want to have happen will not happen because the environment's not there for them to happen. So we started with the work on the brand. The brand here is, it really kind of bore from the idea. I would sit up at night and I would wonder, how do we make students, parents, and staff flock to us like they do to some of the powerhouse schools in the States? The Males, the Manuals, the PRP, the St. X's, the Assumptions, and no shade on them. They're rocking it. They're doing a great job. But I want that here on this campus. So we have to get to the point where our stakeholders do the same thing that they do at the Males and X's and Assumptions, where they buy into the idea of being a Bulldog, being a Tiger. We want them to buy into the idea of being a Mustang here. So what do we do to make people want to work here, make kids want to go here, and make our families proudly say their kid goes to Moore? So we start with exclusivity. If we inherit a building that is already exclusive, the Males, the Manuals, the Browns, all of those, they're building on a tradition of excellence. We have to have the tradition of excellence here, and that starts with exclusivity in the school. We've got to make people feel like they are part of something special, part of a tribe, that they are something bigger and better than what they even conceived of. That is how a vibrant culture should feel. So how do we do that? We do that by talking about our mission like it is sacred. You will never hear this principal say anything other than, we will get to the promised land. Our vision of being the school that students want to attend, parents want to send their kids, and staff want to work at, we hammer this down people's throat. If you are familiar with Rita Pearson's work out there, one of the things she said in her TED Talk, which I consider to be legendary, was she took a class of kids that other people had given up on, and she told them, you are special and you are the best in this school. You are the brightest and we will outperform everyone. And she told them that every day. And you know what happened? They performed. They became the best. They became the brightest, because it's all about expectations. So when we build that exclusivity of our school, we treat this place like it's somewhere sacred. Now, a point that I'll make that I think is very important, especially from school leadership angle, is that fourth one. You have to be relentlessly transparent when you screw up, because you will screw up. If you're not relentlessly transparent as a school leader, when you screw up, when you make a mistake, then that exclusivity is gone, because you must protect the brand. If you don't protect the brand, then it means nothing. So when you screw up and you do something counter to the mission, counter to the vision, you've got to stand up in front of people and say, I made a mistake, and this is how I intend to fix it. Maybe you didn't listen when you were supposed to. Maybe you made a decision without involving stakeholders. Whatever it is, you've got to fix it, and you've got to own up to it, because you are not in front of the brand. You can't be. The mission and vision are far more important than your personal position. From the principal standpoint, you have to communicate ad nauseum about the promised state of being and what it's like to be at the top of the mountain and what you have to do to get to the top of the mountain. This applies in interviews as a practical point. So to my friend principals out there, when you interview people, and like I said, we've hired over 126 people. I've sat in close to 500 interviews in the last 2 years. Questions we consistently ask: what do you know about us? Because I want a candidate that comes in and does their research and realizes they're not just picking a job application off a website. They are applying to our school. And then we ask them, why do you want to work here in this place? And what will you bring to our school to make it the destination? What do you bring that builds our exclusivity? Even if the building's a hard sell, it won't be after you're done hiring. Because if your applicants know from day one that they're coming into a special place, they will take that exclusivity to heart, and they will pass that on to the kids, and they will pass that on to the next person who comes in for an interview. You have to protect exclusivity. I talked about transparency, but you've got to model a disposition that negative talk about the school is both wrong and immoral. Speak only positively about the school mission and vision. Model and explain this to every staff and stakeholder that you possibly can. You have to create a sense of protection around a brand. If you are standing in the line at, Kroger and someone's in front of you and they see more on your t-shirt and they say, oh, I don't know about that. You can't reply back to them, neither do I. No, you tell them then. No, we're on the come up. Let me tell you about the great things that we have going on our campus. We may have a few problems here and there, but we're addressing them. We're fixing them. You always speak positively and model a disposition of positivity about the brand. The second part of it is the hashtag. So you see at the bottom of every one of these slides, hashtag no more. We have tens of thousands of impressions, retweets. It's all over the place. And why we use this is because all of those things you saw at the beginning of the presentation, that negative perception out there, that's not our kids. That was a few people who made a few mistakes. What we want the city of Louisville, what we want Jefferson County, Kentucky, our district, and what we want the state to know is that our kids are far beyond that our kids are of value, and that we cannot let that narrative control what is the perception of our building. So we drown that out by focusing on the positive and showcasing the students who do the right thing every day. And that no more comes from, we want people to know more about our building. We want them to know who our kids are and how they are of value and how they are outstanding. So this is literally the easiest thing to do from a school standpoint, is to leverage social media to make your school community start to believe in the exclusivity of their school. The catch to it is you've got to do it all the time, even for the trivial things. You see in there, I've got parentheses, LaRue County. About 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to LaRue County High School and Middle School and tour it with their principals. And one of the things that I noticed was on the wall, they had posters of kids just doing mundane things, but celebrating them, like just mundane stuff, like not quite a kid tied his shoe right, but almost to that level. And I'm like, why are you celebrating that? Like that doesn't, like, you celebrate ACT scores and stuff like that. And their principal told me, he said, no. We want our kids to see nothing but success. And success isn't always a 30 on the ACT. For some kids, it may be that they showed up today. So we celebrate that, and we celebrate it relentlessly. And that resonated with me for the rest of my career, that if you build a culture where you celebrate all of the good things that kids do, then it becomes iron sharpens iron, and the snowball effect where everyone wants to be successful because they like the spotlight of seeing themselves out there and seeing their friends. So social media becomes the easiest tool for that, but you got to do it for everything. Like when you have a kid that does well in a culinary competition, there's got to be some tweets out there, some Instagram posts. When you've got a kid that does well in the ACT, boom, tweets, Instagram posts all the time, constantly flowing, connected to that hashtag. So you can just sit there and pull it up and see months of positive information about your school out there.
Principals, it's always interesting when you go and look at a principal's hashtag, how many times they only tweet about sports. It's about so much more than just the sports going on in your school. So I was excited to hear you say about the little things. Celebrate the little things wildly and celebrate everything. You just said something about the culinary students, or there's more to celebrate than sports. Sports are important and we need to celebrate them too, but there's so many other things. So thanks for saying that.
No problem. I think one of the biggest keys there is, if you're talking about athletics only, you're really only hitting maybe 50, 60% of your building. But you've got kids that are doing so many cool things on campus, you've got to showcase it all. And then they know that they are as equally as important as the kid who did well in track. I think in education, too often, we don't give enough credit to the activities and the organizations that aren't athletics. And this is coming from a guy who's played sports his entire life, and I love it. But that's only a component of the school. An awesome superintendent I used to work for, Keith Davis, said athletics are not the mission, but they enhance the mission. And I think that well describes where, from a school principal's perspective, how you need to treat athletics in the building. So the next part of the brand is visibility and buzz. One of the easiest things to do to change community perception about your school is agree to host everything. So last year, Miss Heather, she asked us, hey, you guys maybe want to do an ed camp? And with yes, absolutely. Let's get people in here. Let them see how awesome the place is. Get them in here. Get them to more. Let them see our school. And then we say yes to almost anything that anyone asks if they want to host something on campus. Does it require a little extra time and effort? Absolutely. But what it does do is it creates that buzz and visibility in the community that your building is welcoming. And then the second part of that is say yes to anything that gives students voice. For us, a big mover this year was Idea Fest, JCPS Idea Fest. Last year, we took about 70 kids to this really cool event, Idea Fest, and we noticed that really it was 2 or 3 schools that were all the presenters. And we started to have kids ask, like, why aren't our kids up there? Why aren't we up there? And we're like, well, you should be. So what are you going to do to change that? And we give them a space to do that. And this year, half the kids that were at Idea Fest that were presenting were our kids. And our kids were out there giving their ideas, giving their presentations, and having the spotlight. And a year before that, they weren't sure if they could, but they can. So whenever we have an opportunity to give students voice, it always pays dividends. We have the fortunates next week. We're taking 2 kids out to California to San Diego for the High Tech Hop presentation. I think we might be the only Kentucky school doing it. We're super stoked about that because our kids get to take their work all the way across the country. So anytime you have an opportunity to say yes to student voice, do it. The next part of buzz and visibility. This is especially important for high schools, but not limited to them. If you don't have an alumni association, you need to get an alumni association because the day you connect with the past of your school is a powerful day. And you do this by a couple easy things to do. The first thing is invite them to an alumni event for every sporting event. If a guy played tennis in 1973, he's going to be super stoked when you give him a Coke and a hot dog and walk him out onto the court mid-match. Trust me, they love it. And then they're like, oh, see, I can get connected to this kid in 2018 who's playing tennis. We've got that familiarity. Invite them to band nights. Invite them to activity nights. Create a special night just for them. And don't ask them for money for at least a year. Just invite them out and get them reconnected into the building. When you paint the walls, when you start rebranding, when you spruce the place up and make it look nice, offer evening tours, invite the community in, invite the alumni in. Don't even have an agenda. Just say, show up, and we're going to walk you around, and we're going to tell you what we're doing these days, how the school's changed since you were here when you graduated in 98. Show them, don't tell them. Invite them on social media. There are so many alumni out there that if you just include them on social media, they love being connected to the schools. I'm going to give a shout out to one of my alumni who may be watching this, or I'm pretty sure she will watch it later, is Missy Sullivan, class of 73, if I remember correctly. Missy retweets or shares or comments on so many of our social media posts just because she likes being a part of the school. And she hadn't been here since the 70s. But kids get to see this lady who is connected to us just by the fact that she graduated here, cheering them on and being a part of the success that they're having now. And there's something powerful that when you're building a school community. The next part about buzz and visibility is it's got to be plastered on everything you can possibly think of. All communications you send out. And what I would say from the principal's perspective is take some time, study some politicians out there who are on message and find out what that means, because you got to be on message about your building all the time. I think this is extremely relevant in this era now with school choice. We must be in a position to market what makes our school worthwhile to our communities. A simple test on whether or not you can do that as a principal is take a special program that's in your building or district, describe it in 40 words. I guarantee you'll be able to do it. Do the same thing for your comprehensive traditional school in 40 words. I think you'll have a little bit of a struggle, but it's got to be the same as that special program, because we're in an era now where parents have the ability to be flexible, and especially with charter legislation, to have choice. So now we've got to showcase why we are the correct choice and the best choice for their kid. The next portion of brand and visibility is symbols. So you see 2 of them there. That shield was developed by our wrestling coach and one of our baseball parents as an update from the old horsehead, because we wanted some new buzz and visibility to the change that we had on campus last year. The other one is our crest. We use these for 2 particular things. So they mean something internally to us. That shield is anything athletic, anything fun, anything out there. And that crest is only used for the special of special things, the academic things, for junior ring ceremony, for our graduation, when we talk about ACT Day. So we only bring that crest out on very certain occasions, and we sell it to our kids as, you see that, that's pretty important. It's a little extra. It's a little special. It's a little bougie. You've got to, pay a little bit more attention to that. Then the other part of that is wayfinding on your campus. One of the guys that's going to talk today, McKune, is big on putting banners all over the place, and it matters. because when people drive in, they want to see that banner with #NoMore, the shield up there, something positive about the building. And then a very cheap thing you can do on symbols is paint the building and fix the cracks. We all know the old broken window theory that's out there. Well, it's true. If you got a broken window, something else is going to get dirty in that hallway. Then the rest of that hallway is going to get dirty. Then the hallway over next to it's going to get dirty. Then people are going to start hoarding books and textbooks in the corners, and then the building's going to look junky. Don't let that happen. Paint the building. And that's another easy community thing. You put a call out for people to come in to paint, you're going to have some people show up, and they're going to paint some walls. But put that brand and that logo on everything. It's got to be relentless. Any t-shirt you put out there, put the brand and the logo. Any communication, put the brand and the logo. When you're on social media, brand and logo. In the hallway, put up the fat heads on the wall with the brand and logo. You walk in this building right now, you're going to see that shield in every single hallway, on the floor, on the wall, anywhere you might turn your head, you're probably going to see that shield, because that's what we want out there. We want some pride in that. The next portion of symbols is claim your area proudly. So we have 2 reside areas here at Moore. We take the Highview area with a little bit of Newburgh, and then we have a satellite reside from 7th to Taylor Boulevard and a little bit of 9th Street. So those t-shirts represent how we're claiming that territory. And if you work with the city to own your streets, they're happy to do it. You put up the signs from that softball team that won the state championship in 1984. Somebody's going to drive by that and be super happy because they were part of that class. But it shows when you get to that part of town that you're in Moore's part of town. One of the things we're going to do this spring when it gets a little warmer is we've got a 4-way stop here on campus. We have permission from the city. We're going to paint that thing blue. We're going to put the shield in the middle of it so we look a little bit like U of L, because when people come on there, we want to see the pride that they have entered, the territory of Marion C. Moore. Go out and meet your businesses. One of the most, I'd say, easiest things to do is spend about a day a month where you just go connect with your community, give them your phone number, give them your merchandise, and don't expect them to give you money back for them. Just say, hey, put up a couple of my t-shirts in your store when they come in, and let people purchase them so that we can brand our area a little bit more. And here's one for you, business owner, because I want you to wear it proudly too. One of the coolest things that happened to us is across our street, we've got a vapor shop, right? Now, as a high school, you're like, oh no, we got a vapor shop. You don't want kids going there. Well, okay, some of our kids, maybe they don't make the best choice. They walk across the street and they stand there. We went to that vapor shop and we said, you see a kid that looks like he's under 18, you call us, we're going to come get him because we don't want him standing outside of your business and we want to know. And he said, all right. And that first time he called was the test. So we go over there, we convince the kid to come back. That guy is like our biggest ally now because he knows we care about our kids and we care about our community. Those are simple little things that you can do for that symbology and that branding for your community. So kind of wrapping that portion of the presentation up, exclusivity, hashtagging, buzz and visibility, and symbols. Communication is the key to making the brand work. It's got to be relentless. If the brand works, your kids will do better in all things. I know that sounds kind of far-fetched, but really, if you think about it, if a kid is happy, their parent is happy, the teachers are happy, everybody's going to do better. Now, what we know, though, is communication in this day and age lives on the net. So we're going to move into the second part of our presentation where we start talking about how we use that here on campus.
So this is a great segue. So first of all, I've literally had code chills on my arms for a good solid 15 to 20 minutes. Tears in my eyes, like, where have you been all my life, Rob Fulk? You are my favorite human, like, on the planet right now. I'm not kidding. I say this about Wes Bradley and maybe a couple others out there, but you just made it on the list of people that I want to work for one day. So hey, we can talk after the show. What you got open there, Rob Fulk, over and more. I'm just saying, you are a phenomenal leader. Like, I don't like to curse on Kentucky Go Digital, but my goodness gracious. This is so good. Like, this episode is going to be on loop. Okay. So a couple of things. We've got some conversations flowing over here. Chase Goff, he is saying it's amazing what some paint will do. Visibly changes so many things for our teachers and kids. We've got Kyle Chandler over there, piping into our live YouTube as well. Thanks, Kyle. You know, the passion that you have for your school is just so inspiring. Like, we have a little back channel going on too in our Kentucky Go Digital group message, and Courtney and I are like, we're going to church. Like, it's revival time up in Kentucky Go Digital Live today. Like, this is so good. One of the things that I, we have done with Kentucky Go Digital, something that I have tried to do with HCS Innovate, the fellowship I have in Hardin County, and also with my Shattered Glass, is anchoring everything you do to the mission and the power of the mission statement. And, you see so many schools, it's like, what's your mission? I don't know what your mission, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's really special. And Melody Stacy talks a lot about that in her episode that she did with us here, and some of the tools that she used as well. So major shout out to you. And I also just wanted to mention that everything that you have said so far in your presentation, and you may agree or disagree with this, but it all goes back to the book Tribes for Me by Seth Godin. Have you read that? Was he a big piece of your story? Because the whole time I'm thinking, oh yeah, this guy right here, he's read Tribes 1 or 500 times, I'd say. But it's your work is absolutely inspiring. And I'm excited to hear more. Girls, do y'all have any questions or anything you want to add in kind of this little break we're having?
Well, I want to add, as a person who's aspiring to be a principal, I will be able to now that and that's one thing I love about Kentucky Go Digital, is I'm able to reach over and see what's going on in your building and to grab inspiration from you. So for those of the people that are going to be watching this later that want to make a difference in future schools, you're making differences. You're exponentially valuing that. So thank you on behalf of those future principals, as well as school leaders now that need to, and hear what you're saying as well. So thank you again.
Amanda Bischoff over in the YouTube live chat made the exact same point, Elaine, that what the words that you're saying are so important, even for aspiring principals out there, and just aspiring school leaders in general, or I don't know, anybody, but especially aspiring leaders. So I have sent about 5 to 7 text messages to aspiring principals in the past 20 minutes. I'm like, you've got to watch this episode because it's so good. So I will shut up and we will continue this presentation. But excellent work. I'm excited to hear what else you got.
I'm going to interject there just about, inspiring principals. Where I've come in my career, I've had the fortunate of working with some outstanding people. And whenever I have an opportunity to kind of showcase and shout them out, I take it because there are folks in the state that are really worth learning from. I'm going to start with my boss, Dr. Paige Hardestern, here in Jefferson County. She's assistant superintendent, and she is perhaps one of the most intelligent and supportive people I've met in the field of education. She's a leader to learn from. Keith Davis out in Dr. Keith Davis out in Bullitt County, retiring from Bullitt County. Hopefully he will move on to do some things at, I think U of L is what I heard. He is another inspiring leader to look at. The superintendent in Trimble County, Steve Miracle, another awesome guy who understands culture like no other. You already said his name, but I'm going to shout him out again, Wes Bradley. If you haven't taken a day to study Wes Bradley's work up there, you're doing something wrong, because Wes gets it. Like, Wes is outstanding. And then the last one, who I consider one of my personal friends and mentor, Jason Dietrich out at LaRue County, who will be the president of KASA next year, is one of the most innovative and authentic principals in the state of Kentucky. And I'll put in a plug for KASA as well. If you're an aspiring administrator or current administrator, you need to join KASA. So there we go. All right, I'm going to move on now to the social media portion. And this is where my guys and lady are going to interject some things, because they're the real movers and drivers of this work. We're going to start off with our rule. We only have one rule for social media. There are no rules. No, it must be authentic and engaging, organic and real. There is nothing that kind of gripes me and makes me kind of, it's like a cringeworthy moment when you see those manufactured social media moments by schools, and you can tell. Like, it's got to be authentic. It's got to be engaging. It's got to be organic. It's got to be real. It's got to be in the moment. And that's where social media lives and loves. So one of the big things we pull from that is the power of student interaction. Interaction doesn't stop at the bell. We're a 24/7 business these days. Relationships don't stop at the bell. If you are really working with and mentoring a kid, 3 o'clock comes and it's not over. Positive interaction doesn't stop at the bell. We've witnessed firsthand the power of positive student interaction on social media and its impact on academics and school pride. we'll start with YouTube. So the first splash that I have up there is I try to every week. I'm not going to say that I've done every week. There's been a couple I've missed for this, that, or the other. But every week I try to do a weekly wrap-up. And in this weekly wrap-up, I finally moved to landscape mode. God bless Miss Robinson's class. But I just talk about whatever I think is really important for that week and big events that we have on campus. Sometimes we put kids in it. Sometimes we put Clifford the Red Dog. Sometimes it's just me sitting in my living room on a Sunday speaking whatever comes into my mind. But what I found is that students do appreciate this and parents appreciate it, because not only does it allow me to authentically highlight kids, but it allows me to communicate in a video format, which I think is where most of our students and parents prefer communication these days. Like, we're a very visual based society at this point. And I think a 3 or 4 minute video once a week is something that a busy mom and dad can manage, and a kid can sit and watch while they're driving to school or whatever. And we've got some teachers that will show it in their classrooms on Monday. But we've gotten a lot of good engagement off that YouTube. And shout out to Sarah Reed here in JCPS, who is really the lady that pushed me to do that. She's a teacher here in the district, not in our building, just a lady we connected with on social media. That's just really outstanding. We also do.
Hey, real quick on that,
Yeah.
Going back to that YouTube, that was one of the things that I was kind of stalking you a little bit on yesterday, is that YouTube channel and your weekly wrap-ups. And I just want to mention to our viewers who are watching that your videos that you've done, and I mean, they're like all down the list, but I mean, there's so many videos on there, but all of them have hundreds of views. So I think that's also a testament to the community that you've built and people who are checking in with those videos that you're making, because it's not like 1 or 2 views on those videos. I mean, you have hundreds every single video. So I think that's important to note as well. And as a testament too to the reliance on those videos, I would say, by your stakeholders. So.
And I want to join in. Allison Gregory, she is an elementary principal, joining and very active on the live chat. She is amening a lot of what you're saying, but she also talked about everything that you're doing. I know it's high school, but she's speaking from the elementary folks, that this is not just a high school show, that this is a branding and promoting your school and building that community. It's important at every level, elementary, middle, and high. And if you've got it on all 3 levels, it just makes that community stronger. So we're having that conversation on the back channel, and just want everyone to know that, all of these things that you're doing, it can be done at every level, and it's very important to have that at every level. So yeah, everyone's learning on the channel. It's pretty active over here with Mike Paul and Kyle Chandler. Everybody's excited to hear from the rest of the crew.
All right, and I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Chandler now as we talk about some of the other things that we do on YouTube. I'll interject, my man.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say about this in particular. So the slide deck that Rob has up, that is like a spoof, and so much of it just boils down to culture. It seems to me, anyway. Some of the stuff that organically just kind of bubbles up. The kids eat it up. I was so timid and so skeptical about involvement in social media. I went to Rob on different occasions and Kyle McKune, and was like, hey, I just don't know about how should I do this or that. And I just was so wound up, and heaven help them, they have unleashed the beast. Right, I'm a ham and I'm all over everything, but no one has once, swatted my hand or told me to settle down or anything of that nature. It just makes the environment so much more, M-O-O-R-E, of course. But it just makes me feel so connected, like always. Like I used to kind of get off and go home, and that was that. And then the next day it was, well, I got to go to work. But I have so much purpose and so much connectedness now, not only to my staff, but the rest of my district, because of a lot of the work you guys are doing at Kentucky Go Digital, the state, and then even the students. Some of the relationships that we have forged and the encouragement we've been able to provide in a medium that they willingly consume, they are allowing us to be in their face constantly, encouraging, reminding, supporting them. And it has just been an incredible thing to witness and experience for our students and our staff and just the whole community. Like I am drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I love my job and I love this. This is amazing. So
you seem like a very serious kind of guy. Like you don't ever like to have fun or joke around. I'll be honest with you, Kyle. True story. When we tweeted the promo show yesterday, you changed the graphic. And I said, I don't know what's happening. Is this guy making fun of us? Like, and so then they had to explain to me that the Big Show was a wrestler. So yeah. So anyway, I was like, okay, I didn't get it. So then I Googled the Big Show. Now I get it. And it's funny. Like, okay, Kyle Chandler, he's my kind of guy. I dig it. But that's inspiring too, that you guys love like having fun. I mean, it's fun to watch.
In regards to, if I can say something, in regards to that story about Kyle making that, he sent me an email yesterday with a picture of that. And I said, you're going to put that out on social media, right? And he was a little bit apprehensive. And then I said, if you don't, I'm going to take it and put it out. So that just kind of shows you we basically put anything out. There's nothing that we can't put out there because we just have like a really fun, friendly environment. And there's no fear of like Mr. Fulk kind of like censoring anybody. And the end result is we have a social media presence that really has a personality, and the kids connect with that. And as I've been doing the branding and everything, just the engagement back and forth on Twitter makes, it gives us a voice to the kids. And that was a great example. I'm glad you brought it up and glad you recognized it. But I think ultimately he did put it out. But Kyle Chandler takes every opportunity he can to put his social media presence out there. I'm surprised he's not said at Chan the Man yet or put it up on the screen.
But that's the thing, like, that as I was looking at the slides yesterday and just getting ready for the show today, I mean, I kind of just got lost in the no more hashtag and each of your individual Twitter accounts, and the spirit of fun that you bring to your digital school presence is really special. And that is really what got me completely hyped for today's episode, is just learning and listening to everything that you guys do. It's super inspiring. But don't change my face on a graphic, because I'm a little nervous what that would be. I hope there's not like a wrestler out there. So that's the only rule. So you say there's no rules, but that's my one rule.
But it just helps us be more genuine, more personable, more more welcoming, I guess. Like the students will see me on the middle school side, and I'll hear them in the hall going, "Hey, that's Shane the Man." Like, because I'm with these guys. Like, we're all like in this Instagram thing trying to figure it out, and I'm probably the least adept, but that's where they are, and so we're trying to migrate to find them, to go to them. But they realize it, they recognize it, and they're involved, and they see us. They know us by our social media handles. Sometimes that may be all they know, but it's incredible that we're approachable now. There's no one that they don't know. So, yeah.
So a couple of the things we do there on YouTube, like the 3 ridiculous questions. We have a social studies teacher here in my middle school department chair, Mr. Glibbery, who is just his comedic genius is pretty strong to begin with. But, it's like Kyle said, we just wanted to put out some funny, silly, authentic things out there that kids could laugh at. So that was one of the things that we did. We do carpool karaoke. That video there is my head football coach and some of his football players. They decided they were going to do some carpool karaoke to a couple of different rap songs, and it was cool. Just little silly things like that try to build a spirit of that school doesn't have to be terrible and soul-sucking. It can be fun while we're working hard. Now, Flipgrid, I'm going to turn this over to Megan, and she's going to talk about some more instructional uses of that.
So as an English teacher, I'm constantly looking for authentic ways for students to talk about books and for students to get more books in their hands. And one of the things that I found was Flipgrid, and it's a lot easier to publish your videos than it is on YouTube. One thing that you can do is you can use it on your phone. So there's an app, or you can use it on a Chromebook, any piece of technology with a camera and a microphone. So my students can talk about the books that they've read, what they like about it. They can throw a quote in there, and it's really simple to share books with other students. So what I did is I asked my seniors to make these first so that my younger students can say, oh, that kid read a book, I can too, right? And it's really authentic, and it's really cool just to ask a kid to get on Flipgrid and look through some book talks individually, or use a whole class on the projector. So that's Flipgrid. It can be used for lots of things, but that's how we use it in English. And one thing that's becoming really popular nowadays is using podcasts in the classroom. I know lots of teachers that have used Serial but it's really cool if you can get a podcast that's kind of on the come up. We found one in our 11th grade PLC called Ear Hustle. It's actually recorded in San Quentin Prison in California. And they just finished their first season this past year, right before Christmas. And so we used that in our classroom and we started tweeting at them, and they actually tweeted back at us, got involved. We ended up on the Radiotopia newsletter, pictures of our kids and quotes from our kids, quotes from our 11th grade PLC. And it was really cool to kind of be involved with that podcast as they were recording their first episode. So that's how I've been using podcasts this year.
I'm gonna interject real quick and let you guys know that if any of you are interested in learning more about podcasts, Flipgrids, those type of things, we have some episodes. We have Melody Stacy and Allison Gregory's episode that will help you get started for those. So make sure that you check out those videos on the YouTube channel.
And you were talking about your 11th grade PLCs. So how did that come about? I know it sounds like you were listening to the teachers, you're taking suggestions. This was the type of conversation in your PLCs, right?
Yes. So I'm actually in the 11th and 12th grade regular class PLC. So my colleague in our PLC, we actually heard Ear Hustle both this summer, just organically, and we talked about it, and we're like, that we should use this with our kids. So that was pretty organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because you have, and it goes back to the leadership in your buildings, that you have that safe. You feel like it's okay to try that. You feel like it's okay to do that. That's a conversation that's promoted. I love it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We mentioned on the JCPS chat last night that, Rob is great about letting us fail forward, right? Like, so we can try so much. And, it's almost like I joked and said that it was like 20% time, for our job though. We just get to go toward our passion, and that's what's encouraged. So it's pretty incredible to work in that environment and feel safe doing it.
It speaks volumes to Rob, because I think I used to be an assistant principal, and it's hard because you have so much management going on, but it sounds like the culture of empowering the teachers and the people to work together and to come up with new ideas. It's hard to let go, to let people just go and do their own thing. And Rob, I think it's awesome that you trust your people, and the community and the culture you've established is to encourage them and empower them to do things like this organically.
You got to get out of their way and let them do their job and do it well, and then support them where they need support. And the dividends from that are, I've never been in an experience where that doesn't pay off. We have professionals in this building that are super experienced and knowledgeable in their content fields. And I think it's incumbent upon the principal to recognize that and then just let them shine. The three folks that I have here are exceptional in their ends of the job, and they are representative of many of the folks that we have on staff. And the easiest way as a principal is, when you see folks that have that ability, you get so much back for the kids when you just say, okay, go, let's see what you can do. Be innovative, be awesome. And then, if it didn't work, great, we'll try something new. And we're not going to holler at you for it. We're not going to yell at you for it. We're not going to penalize you. We're going to celebrate the fact you tried something. Because when you do that, you get stuff like this, and it's awesome for kids. And from the principal standpoint, the payoff is, I like to think that they're not going to hit a transfer list or apply somewhere else, because they're like, man, I'm in a place that lets me ply my craft and work on the art of teaching. So I want to stay at that place, So.
Rob, I'm gonna quote Seth Godin again, and how he talks about what kind of kids are we developing? Are we developing consumers or creators? And you are developing creators, and I commend you that, because as an educator and a parent, I'm trying to do that just the same. So, thank you.
This speaks to Rob Fulk again, because that is I wanted to interject the whole time while he was talking, but he just comes with so much energy all the time, and that is the Rob Fulk, and he makes it comfortable. And the teacher end is just, you get a bunch of teachers that just want to work, and they like to come to work now. It's fun in the hallways. You don't have fear when the principal walks down the hallway, and it's not like, okay, get your class in order. It's kind of like, come on in, and there's not a student.
Interject on that. There's lots of really great quotes going on over on the YouTube live chat about this specifically. Chase Goff, he says, I wholeheartedly believe that the best thing for culture is ensuring teachers feel safe to take big risks and know that failure is okay. And how empowering teachers creates exponential impact. And so there was a little bit of chatter back and forth because our friend over in Singapore, Todd Norton, he says hiring great people helps. And Kyle Chandler popped in and talking about, hiring good people is important, but also just giving, and Kyle, the other Kyle, Chandler, man, you can pop in on this as well, but you made the comment about how really Rob gave permission to the people in the building to really just kind of unleash their genius that was already there. Chan the man, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, so I started my career here almost 7 years ago now. And Miss Woodlee, you've been here how many years?
This is about that.
Tom, if I'm not mistaken, is an alum and has been here for 15 years. Is that right, Kyle?
16, 17, 15. They all run together. You'll see when you get to that point.
But who's counting? Anyway, so, I mean, and so there was so much here already. It was like a rebirth. I mean, it's like a whole new experience, a door opened, like I say. And he's brought in a ton of great people. Rob has, as he mentioned, he's hired quite a few. But in no way has that overshadowed the talent that we already had in the building. Everybody gets equal playing time and attention, and if you've got something to contribute, then you get a seat at the table. And it's pretty incredible. We get to nurture the new up-and-comers. They get to feed off some of the, again, in my building at this point, in almost 7 years, I don't want to say I'm a veteran, but for this building, I've been here as longer than most. So, I'm kind of one of those go-to people, but for him to recognize not only what already existed and to nourish it, but then to bring in all this new blood and freshness has been incredible to watch them blend and come together and work together.
I want to mention a quote real quick that Mike Paul dropped in here. He is joining us from Markstown. And he says, all it takes is one person being brave enough to change the status quo in the building and things start to just shift. Someone is waiting for you to be different. So that goes right along with what you just said. So I just wanted to kind of bring that into the live show because I thought that conversation was really special.
How we use Blogger. So we use Blogger for two things on campus. The first one is we have our public SBDM site, which is a repository for our agendas, policies, minutes, updates, the terms of all of our members. We're a huge SBDM, 2 admin, 6 teachers, and 4 parents. So keeping them all on the same page is pretty important. And then I run a blog too, where it gives me an opportunity outside of work to kind of wax poetically about what I think's going on in education and just kind of put some of my ideas out there. And that was encouraged by one of my teachers, Kelsey Hayes, who has a huge blog following just as a vehicle to be able to discuss, current educational topics. Now, Facebook is one that we found there are a couple of very powerful uses and then a couple of uses you can't use it for. So how we use Facebook. Number one, our experience is kids aren't on Facebook anymore. Not really. It's like 35, 30 and older crowd. So this is a tool for the parents and the community. But one of the things we do use is those header pictures. See right there, like that's our girls powerlifting team who did well at a tournament a week ago. Our kids pay attention to who's the header on Facebook and Twitter, and they like to see and celebrate themselves when they get the opportunity to be the header. So like when we have a drama production, they'll usually be the header. When we have band, they'll usually be the header. Powerlifting did well, so they get to be the header. But what we found with Facebook is that's where we can have some conversations with parents and community because they will comment. Sometimes it may not be a happy comment, but if you're authentic and transparent, you just address it. So it becomes a really cool interaction place for Facebook. Two things we found that I like to pass on whenever we talk about it is number one, take over your local pages. I'm gonna give a shout out to our wrestling coach, Mike Thomas, who most people don't know is also the guy who runs the Highview Louisville Facebook page because he took it over. And so whenever we post something that we think needs to be out in the community, Mike will retweet it and repost it on Facebook from Highview. And it's just as simple as figuring out all those auto-generated pages by Facebook and seeing how you can take them and make them a part of your school. Now we move on to Instagram, which we found is where the kids are now and the one we know the least about and are playing with the most lately. So this is the newest platform we're using. We know the kids are there. We know it's great for quick event promotion. We know that our teachers understand that one the least. for now, and that's teachers, admin, all of us, but we're learning. We also know that from a school discipline standpoint, the majority of our social media problems crop up in the, the online bullying or the rec pages and stuff like that from Instagram, because that's where the kids are. So learning how to use Instagram, I think, is pretty important just from a whole school community, but we do use it for quick event promotion and also to showcase some of the celebrations that we have on campus. The next one we want to hit is Twitter. We live on Twitter. We love Twitter. We use Twitter for a lot of things. You'll see a splash there on the presentation on some of our Twitter accounts. Then you'll see another page with more of our Twitter accounts. And if I put all of them on there, it would be about 5 or 6 pages long. We're over 100 at this point. How we use Twitter, one of the biggest ways that we use it is hashtag read more. And I'm going to let Maegan take this and talk about the importance of that and how that's managed to connect us to a really big audience.
Yeah, so like I said before, I'm always looking for ways to authentically celebrate reading, ways that aren't contrived, because teenagers can always tell when it's, when you're fake celebrating. So I started putting my students on Twitter whenever they finished independent reading books, or if they were just doing a really good job that week. And the ESL teacher, Mr. Drew Courtney, and I last year came up with the hashtag read more. It's kind of a branch off of our no more hashtag, and it has just kind of taken off and become a school-wide hashtag, which is awesome. The best thing that we've been able to do with this hashtag is connect students with the authors of the books that they're reading. And it's always really, really exciting whenever an author will reply to a student and use their name and maybe give them some advice on what to read next. That's been a huge success in the past few years. We've heard from authors as big as Sue Monk Kidd and John Lewis and Ellen Hopkins. So it's been really, really exciting the past few years to connect kids with the authors through social media.
We're hoping for that retweet by Stephen King at some point.
Hoping for that really soon. Yeah.
How we use Twitter, we use it for marketing, information sharing to the community, information sharing for our kids. A big one for us is professional learning networks and getting out of that box. I'm going to let Kyle Chandler talk about his experience with that, because I think his points are pretty salient on that. Kyle?
Perfect example. I've got in a classroom, you close the door and you're in that room, and that's like your world, really. And the day turns and you go and you grade papers and you plan, but you're so isolated in some buildings, in some situations. And I've heard you guys talk at Kentucky Go Digital about the silos, and that could not be more true. And I have felt like, the connectedness at a professional level with you guys on there, some of the things I've learned, the connections I made, it's like I was kind of able to peek out over the wall, right, and see like this whole world waiting out there. And it's made me so excited about my profession, so hungry, so motivated. But there are still a lot of kids that, are on there. I've been able to, I know for sure, make a positive impact with some specific students with interaction on Twitter. And so it's a really powerful tool. And hey, you know what? We cut up and we have fun too. And hopefully that makes people want to work here. That makes kids want to go here. And that makes the community proud to host us, up the road. That's what it's all about. I know I'm proud to be here.
His voice in our district, we have that JCPS chat hashtag and hashtag we are JCPS. And we have really been intentional of trying to take that over and flood it with teachers and even students. It's something pretty powerful when you have 20 or 30 teachers and then 20 or 30 students that are on this Twitter chat talking about issues in the district and interacting with, guys like Dr. Polio, our superintendent, our previous board chair, Chris Brady. When he hosted that chat, we had over 30 students that were asking questions, which then spawned into, hey, can we go to a board meeting and see what that's all about? And we took a host of kids to a board meeting, just because of that Twitter chat, because they wanted to see how governance of a school district happened. We also use it for student voice and surveys. That poll option is pretty easy and powerful. And then trivia prep. So if you see some goofy on there, we do a trivia night twice a year. That's a big event for our school. And we have some teachers that take it extremely seriously and a principal who takes it seriously. We're actually going to have a press conference this afternoon announcing the 4th member of the Power team, which is the team that I have the fortune of being a part of that will win. But we actually do some rankings on there and stuff. And the kids are like, y'all goofy, but they like it and they see it. And it also creates some collegiality between our staff. So we love Twitter. And we do find that kids are still on Twitter. They haven't all migrated over to Instagram. We still do have a lot of our older kids that enjoy Twitter, and some of our parents too.
Can I give a plug to that Twitter account just in case anybody wants to watch your all's live stream? It is Louisville MS Preps.
It's worth a look.
Louisville.
It'll be something to laugh at for sure. A big key we found with social media though is cross platforms. We cross post 99% of our content. Instagram is leash friendly for this, so we're working on ways to fix that. It just doesn't seem like it plays well with others. We have a informal and sometimes formal protocol in place that a couple of our big users like McKune, Hayes, Woodlee, Chandler, Mr. Short, that they'll double up on our important posts so that we get the word out there. And we know that visually, so we spend a lot of time trying to put communications into visual formats that draw their attention, which we'll kind of talk about a little bit of that now. Sometimes it's silly graphics like this one for middle school map testing and gains. We've got Thomas the Tank Engine with some massive arms because, you know, who has the highest gains. We do some more informational posts about high school tardy numbers to celebrate that our tardies went down. We did one calling out one of our middle school teams, you know, because they had the most kids on Instagram that were liking and sharing school statuses. Shout out to our parents when we did the KDE audit this year. We had they asked us to have 5 or 7 parents show up and talk to them. We had a lot more than that were really passionate about speaking about our school. So we give them a shout out. And some parents are happy they get their name out there with their kids too for being involved. When we hire new staff members like Miss McClure, she starts next Monday. You know, we talk about where she came from and what she's doing in the building just so we get that out there. We do shout outs for, you know, kids not having behavior referrals. First half of the year, 787 of our middle schoolers didn't have one, which is outstanding. When we have events like student advisory meeting, times, places, all that stuff, you know, shout out things that we're doing cool, like when we're going to San Diego so that we recognize the teachers that are a part of that and the students that are a part of that. And then we like memes too, because kids like memes and they laugh at them. They think they're goofy and they'll be like, that's dumb. But they laugh and they enjoy it. And we find that we get a lot of likes and retweets off that kind of stuff. So, you know, we do a lot of Saturday ACT prep leading up to the ACT. So that cute dog wants you to show up on Saturday. You should do that because the cute dog says.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Out of the almost 300 juniors, you guys had almost perfect attendance today for the ACT, which is really hard to accomplish. And I think that is a testament, you and I talked about that earlier, to your school culture strategy. Kids want to be at your school. They realize how important the ACT is to their future story. So shout out to you guys. Further proof.
Thank you. Then we got some more of those ACT memes, the little baby. Everyone likes the little baby. And then we've got some more polished stuff that are created by Mr. Chandler, Mr. McKune, or students. Madison Shealy, one of our seniors, takes an independent study digital design class where she does a lot of this stuff to showcase, you know, like just make it a little bit nicer to look, so a little bit more professional. We brand the heck out of it and then show off, you know, the stuff that's going on in the building, top scorers, you know, our powerlifting. We just lift those pictures off social media. Those are all cell phone pictures taken by the club coach or sponsor. And it becomes pretty easy and quick to do this stuff. You know, when we wanted to support Marshall County High School, when our community academy did well in culinary. And that kind of wraps up where we're at. Kyle 1, Kyle 2, and Megan, you guys got anything you want to add here in the end?
I might be able to offer a little bit of function. So if there's anybody that's looking and wanting to do what we do, then hopefully your principal would put you in a position like me. I do got to teach. But if I can share my screen here, I'll just quickly just go through and all I'm going to do is search the hashtag no more and I'll kind of give you like what I did day to day, hour to hour, but it's on my phone at the same time as my screen shared. Okay, so this is our Twitter page, and you got to have at least like 20 tabs open at any given time, and you got to have everything else open on it. But all I do is we got our hashtag right there in our bio. I'm going to search it, and then I go to the latest.
That right there, that first one you saw was Madison Shealy, one of our seniors, giving ACT tips to our juniors, which, I mean, you know, that makes you, like, smile so much.
Works with me. She does the independent study with me here, and she's kind of been trained as my protege here. And anything that I do, she can do now also. And that's a big testament to her. But we're just going to search the latest, and you'll notice where I've done some of tweets while this is going on. Anything with the hashtag no more. But apparently this Ralph Merkel has figured out that our hashtag is so popular that if they put it on their tweet, we'll tweet it, but I probably won't tweet that one there. And in regards to like the filter, but like Mr. Fulk has only given me one filter, and that's do not retweet anything where he takes a political stance on his personal Twitter. Other than that, anything can go. But functionally, I'll take this one here. It had no more on it, and this is a big tip right here. And Mr. Fulks indicated that he didn't think Instagram played well. I gotta throw the hashtag in there. Instagram is the only social media where you can tweet from, or you can post from Instagram, and it will post to Twitter and Facebook at the same time. So I respectfully disagree with him, but it does have some challenges, and I just use it mainly for kid posts. So I don't try to put too much on there that kids won't be interested in. So this one here. So I usually just start from the top. So if anybody wants to know the rhythm that I go, it's always capital No, lowercase. And then sometimes if I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into it, I'll add commentary and give life to them. But the reason I got a quote tweet instead of retweet, if I retweet, for instance, if I retweet this one here, just retweet it without a quote tweet, it will not go to our Facebook. Because Facebook only takes original tweets. So I learned that early in the tweeting process because we was trying to have everything linked up so we can just get to as many people as we can at one time. So just a tip to anybody that's going to be taking this on as a project. Originate most stuff in Twitter because it's easy to get out, and that's where you put your text out. If you got pictures, originate those in Instagram, but sometimes I'll send stuff to Instagram and make it post on Twitter just so our Twitter users can get exposure to our Instagram. And that's just a good way to let our Twitter users know that we are on Instagram and just get everybody following everything.
I just wanted to point out, and you know, I work a lot with principals about building school culture and that digital culture. And once you have people who have this on their plate, and it doesn't just have to be the principal, it sounds like 4 people can help support with this, and Kyle is the primary contact on running the social media strategy. But you know, we want to build school culture. Social media is a huge piece of that, and so running good strategy is imperative. So kudos to you and your team.
We've got 4 that post off that main account, but like I said, we've got hundreds of accounts. And we've got a lot of Instagram accounts, and really we did some training last year, and we refreshed it this year of, you know, here's how you use this vehicle as a powerful tool to connect with your kids, to celebrate student success, and to build the culture of the building. And the you know, that's always a gamble, but huge kudos to my staff. They bought in, and they bought in hard because we had some early adopters who knew how to do it well. And once they see their peers doing it, it doesn't become another thing. I think it's also important to note, too, that we do not mandate any of this for our teachers. Like, I don't get up and say, you have to be on Twitter, you have to be on Instagram. If you don't want to, that's fine. That's cool. When we do that, we find most of them do anyway, like they like it. So I think anytime when we can walk away from the chair of the principal mandating things and letting it happen more naturally, then you get a heck of a lot more success with that. But that's pretty much the crux of our presentation. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with my colleagues and talk about the things that we have going on campus and you know, our journey so far. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and I think we're doing pretty well in the marathon right now. But we know that there's always things that we need to fix and things that we need to work on as a school. But I'm fortunate to wake up every day and come to work with educators that are, I mean, they're doing the work. They're pretty outstanding. I get inspired daily by my staff. I'm really happy to be their colleague.
Well, we appreciate you, sir, and bringing your team on here. What a treat. I didn't know until just a few days ago we were going to have the whole panel, so that makes it even more fun. And I would say that everyone watching and everyone who watches in the future, to say that we've all been inspired is probably a bit of a understatement. So anyway, you guys are awesome. I so enjoyed this episode. It was wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Just wanted to let everybody out there watching how you guys can get continued support with these tools. We have talked about lots of different things, websites, lots of social media, Flipgrid, just some different tools out there. And be sure to check out the Create playlist that we have on our YouTube channel now, where most of our episodes that we stream live have companion videos that we house on our Create playlist to help give you guys more of a technical kind of support to what we discuss in each episode. So be sure to check that and stay connected with us on our hashtag on Twitter, hashtag KYGO Digital, and we're also on Facebook. So we talked a little bit about Facebook today. So if you are on the Facebooks, be sure to find us there. Elaine, would you mind we've got some exciting news that happened yesterday on the Twitter. So would you mind sharing everybody about what's coming up this summer?
Yesterday, we officially launched your Kentucky Go Digital regional event registration. And if you have not yet registered, make sure that you go ahead and do that. So let me make sure. Am I good, Brooke? Let me know if I'm good. So if you have not yet registered for your regional event, thanks. Then that way you can too go to this bit.ly, which is bit.ly, Kentucky Go Digital registration, and register for one of these awesome events that is near you, or you can attend all of them if you choose. We have May 31st, June 5th, July 13th, July 23rd, and July 25th. So if you have yet to sign up, make sure that you do that as well.
About in this episode today, the importance of face-to-face connections. And so the regional events are a great way just to stay connected and, meet people face-to-face, see what they look like in real life. So thank you guys again.
The opportunity, we really appreciate it. You guys are doing some outstanding work with Kentucky Go Digital, just in general. Awesome and inspiring. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We are so excited to just have, the Kentucky Go Digital Live platform to shine the spotlight on all the incredible people out there, and school leaders and district leaders who are just doing incredible work. It's so inspiring to learn from you guys. So thank you everyone for tuning in for today's episode. Don't forget to connect with us on social media as you create and share in your classrooms and your schools. So we will see you guys very soon for our next episode.
Get involved with Kentucky Go Digital. Attend regional events, like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel